Evening all, welcome back. So this is day 2 of the Vanguard, and this is basically me trying to figure out obviously what's going on. So I'm going to figure out with you and share with you my mind waves and learning points that this is quite an interesting curated walkthrough. I think the previous examples of Vanguard were more the engine and making sure that the gun game is good bra, whereas this now feels about the wrapper. Think of that. I remember, gosh, that takes me back to my corporate and knobhead days of basically having to do, yes, we need a wrapper around this product and service. Can you provide that wrapper for us? And at which point I would vomit wildly into the air like a sprinkler, just trying not to kind of sigh and roll my eyes so much I bang my head on the desk. But basically this is a nice wrapper, because what they're giving you here is a very polished curation. I use that word a lot, but it's nice. It's kind of a good sort of walk through. So let's start with the expeditions, which is basically a series of missions strung together that put you into the map, so that you do certain things you can then extract, and you get just fabulous prizes to be won. And that's pretty much how that works. Now you may come across other what do we call them, droppers? I can't remember. Like in Frontier they're called riders. Never quite understood that, because you're not straddling your spaceship, are you? But anyway, in this I think you're called, let's call you Susan. You're Susans in this. And as I Susan now into the drop pod to drop down Helldivers, maybe. No, that the legal team would have to have a comment on that one. But it does have, I think, a charm about it, that it kind of says, right, go here, drop down, go do this mission, then extract. And you might come across other dudes. If you feel free to shoot them in the face if you wish. Oh, by the way, the PvP is coming. Towards the end of this very long video is just an utter montage of, all I can say is just complete and utter ownage, sadly, of me. I get owned over and over again, because I keep coming across players who are playing in groups, and because I'm Billy No Mates, basically no one wants to play with me, I keep getting literally double teamed, which is not the first time, but there was that weird time in Amsterdam a long time ago, but we don't talk about that because the therapy was very thorough. So what we have here effectively is a mission where we're trying to kind of steal contraband, and it's a good example of what we can probably expect from the game, because it's something where you deploy, you have then the ability to go loot, do things. You then have also the ability to call down machines, in this case stealth fields. You then can cut through things, steal stuff, load it onto a ship, and off it goes. Again, huge vibes of Division here. The whole let's go loot stuff and then call in the chopper to basically put your stuff that might then get picked up. Yeah, I love this. This to me, it's a big plus, like it really is. So here we go. So we start the process. We drop our orbital command center. This is what's going to, well, basically, I think, drive the other 3 stealth fields. And I like this. There's something very satisfying about this. I think if you've got the kind of infrastructure of EVE, and I don't mean the game, I mean EVE is a thing where there's plenty of machines. You might as well then incorporate them into your game. So having stealth fields that kind of cover the dropship as you do your work, oh yes, big plus. I did find it's quite hard. Again, it's because I'm a bit of a girl. That's the wrong thing to say. I shouldn't really say that. But I do feel at times that my skills are pretty poor when it comes to things like this. I am rusty. I mean, I am the Lord of Dust, but obviously I've not played first-person shooters for a while. It's sad in a way, because the sorts of shooters I've played are things like 7 Days to Die and that. So not exactly your kind of uber-elite PvP. And Star Citizen is not really where you go to kind of, brush up your Battlefield and Call of Duty sort of skills. I'll tell you one game I do want to play is, oh wow, yes, I just got crushed by the ship. I did laugh at that. Feel free to put in the comments that basically I am a complete and a gibbon for that. But I did think that the gun game is very good, actually. And I think to start with kind of that, I don't know, we've spoken about that before, but there is definitely something quite enjoyable about the gun game. Like I always find that certain games you'll play where you feel as if you're just using Nerf guns. I've said that before, I know, but it actually goes a bit beyond that, because there is a satisfaction with certain guns. Hence my Counter-Strike comment, because I think it was the M4A1 silenced rifle in Counter-Strike, which I always attribute to being a rather satisfying gun. There's something very, like, when you get that and you start kind of, you know, putting lead in the air, there's something very satisfying about the entire process that I quite enjoy. And I think this has that feeling, because when this gun, I don't even know if this is the assault rifle, I guess, but when this starts firing, there is definitely a satisfying feeling from it, which is good. You know, I do want to try and get that sniper scope from the tutorial unlocked, so please post in the comments how I do that. I think I know what chipsets I need, but I need to go and basically I've got to go find them, and I've got to basically, I've got to play the game. I know I do, and I have to basically roll through various missions, picking up stuff, extracting, and so on. And I do think that gives me real joy. I mean, you know, these aren't chores. I always think when there's lots in EVE that, you know, EVE Online, that I would attribute to being a massive chore, and it's strange because I don't really attribute this in the same way. Not yet. I mean, maybe it will become that, but I think I'm quite interested to see, like, you know, how this develops. Obviously, I think the kind of NPCs are pretty good. They're not like the most intelligent. I mean, they do kind of derp around a bit, but, you know, I'm okay with that, because the assumption I have is that they're infinite super soldiers as well. So it's all a bit like, oh, I'll get you next time, as he's being turned into a little kind of, you know, boil in the bag vindaloo meal for one, and sprayed all over the floor. I always get the impression that he's kind of holding his fist up saying, oh, I'll get you next time. And in which case that makes me smile, because it could be this sort of wonderful mind, you know, wonderful thought rather, of this sort of the same NPC getting owned by you over and over, and he's like, I'll get you next time. And I don't know why I like that. Makes me giggle. I think when I look at kind of what this mission is trying to do, again, I quite like that there is a sort of shady element to this contraband thing. I don't quite understand really why or what, but I do like that it's here. So look, we're using the tools to open this up. I think that's kind of interesting. I get a definite kick out of that. I think mining is something that I'm going to have to obviously go and do, not for any other reason than just to experience the entire game. Not a fan of the model of this. I know it looks kind of cool that it's like a big square box. It looks very Warhammer 40k, but I think there's something, I don't know, I'm being critical for not really any reason there. I think, you know, the guns, in fact the shape and design of the guns, like I saw the shotgun, I'm not that impressed with it. It looks a bit like bleh. And I know that the lead developer has a real interest in Unreal Tournament, things like the flat cannon, stuff like that. Yeah, it looks like the flat cannon. And I think that has an innate charm, but I don't think it fits into the EVE universe. I don't think they do kind of like that sort of gun. I don't know, maybe I'm being critical, but oh yeah, by the way, getting owned. Seriously, I can't even tell where I'm being shot from. Who knows? But oh yeah, you can heal yourself, but it doesn't really do much. So as you can see, not doing terribly well, but again, that's part of the learning process of the game. I did wonder if I was being shot by a player there, so I had a quick look, but no, it's just me being not very good. And again, there is something to bear in mind with this, that obviously I learned this in the first kind of playthrough, is that you must try and get your clone count up. So if you look around the map, you'll see clone banks. You totally need to basically go and bank clones, because I went through like 3 clones in this one. But you know, it's all part of the process of learning. Let's talk maybe a little bit more about the graphics, because one of the things that I was surprised at, and I'm going to be slightly critical now, is the shading. The shadows seem non-existent. Is that just me? It's probably a minor point. Maybe it's something I've not configured correctly. But again, out the box, I've played the game, other than changing the resolution, I've not really messed with it. I've left it as is. So probably I need to spend a bit of time looking at that, because there's no shadows. And I think if that's on purpose, just to kind of for testing purposes, then okay. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't even know if there's RTX stuff on this either, so please do tell me if there is settings I'm missing. I'm not saying it looks bad, by the way. Literally, I just went and stood in goop and died. So a little cut there, but basically we just then fought our way back and we managed to build an extraction beacon, and then we placed it, and then it's now extracting it. I like it. I think the fact you can extract anywhere is interesting. It gives very powerful benefit to the player, not the sort of hunter. So I think about that. But anyway, there we go. So this is what we looted. Not a huge amount, but at least, you know, starting in it. I'm amazed we actually got some mods or chips for the thing. Quite surprised at that. And it just is like the first, you know, part of the process. If I'd have been extracting things as well in the mission, I think that'd have appeared there. Plus we get rewards. Look at that. So we actually got blueprints. We get things that we can now make. So this is why, you know, you need to deploy, get resources, and so on. So it's exciting to me. This is the bit that I think is the connection to EVE that I quite liked, is you can actually go and harvest things, create things, and then use them. So definitely want to do this, because I still think the normal gun is okay, but I'm not exactly blown away with it. We now have available expeditions to it. So we have one for the Minmatar, Deathless, and Amar. So I just went with the first one, which was apparently, quote, easy. And we'll see how that goes. But I think I get a blueprint for shotgun out of this. So that's quite interesting. I'm guessing the Minmatar, the gun is the Minmatar shotgun. I could be wrong, but it feels like if there was one race in EVE that's going to use the shotgun, it's going to be the Minmatar. So in this one, we had to do some deployments to basically scan some stuff. And this is where I think the PvP starts to come in, because I come across a lot of players. Obviously, it's the first night, and I just basically get stomped continually. But I'm cool with that, because again, that's part of the game. So, you know, you don't really lose anything. It doesn't feel like you lose anything. You do lose the odd chipsets that you deploy with, but it does feel as if they're going to be quite, you know, oftenly given to you. So I don't think you're going to struggle too much with that one. I like the fact that you can create things as well. So here we have the fabricator bay. And we can actually make things like the shotgun. Pretty cool. Obviously nowhere near the requirements for it, but again, I'm cool. I'm excited, because I'm like, oh, okay, I want to suddenly go and make things. Here I think this was the accelerator. Yes, so this just speeds up the rate of fire on the gun, which is again much needed. I do want to try and turn this into like an SMG at some point. But I do think the ease in which blueprints and manufacturing is slotted into the game, I like. I'm feeling it very much. I probably put too many chipsets on this, so ignore that. I'm just literally, yeah, I'm going to use what I use, because when I first played through, I had hundreds and hundreds of items I never deployed with. So in this, I've decided that whatever I get, I'm going to put on the guns and the suits and just use it. But let's go and have a look at Solstice. And this is the first mission where I think PvP is enabled. I could be wrong, but it feels like it was, because I came across players and they get shotgunned in the face. There's not a bit of a spoiler there, but it was fun. I did I did enjoy the firefights, even though I lost continually. I do like this map as well. I think this is one of the more beautiful places. I do think there's a lot going on here that I quite like. Now I've just deployed and I can see there's a firefight happening, so I know there's players up here, and that's exciting to me. Well, I assume there's players up here. Again, the first thing I did, knowing there's a clone bank there, is go and put some biomass in the clone bank, just to kind of help with the clones, because again, if you don't do that, you run out of quarters, is how I like to think of that. That just shows my age, but you need to do that. And this is where I learned very, very quickly that the shotgun is actually quite good. I came across, I think he killed me twice. But this is where I think, again, the game has a nice feeling to it, because it was kind of fun stalking someone and seeing if I could get the drop on them. And I think that's good. I like it. I've got a lot of positive thoughts. There we go. There he is. He's to my right. And I start shooting, and I probably shouldn't have done that, because I guess I'm kind of one being a meanie moo. But boom. And look at that. I'm downed, and he just executes me. How could he? Or how will he sleep tonight? Let's be honest. How on earth will he sleep tonight? Libeth Thor, you're a cruel man or woman. And I think they're real, they're fun moments. I think already that made me chuckle. I had a big smile on my face, and I'm like, right, let's see if I can get him again, because it literally deployed me to the same place. And I'm like, well, let's go and see if we can get him again. So there we go. So there is PvP. It's fun. I quite like it. The time to kill on the players is high, unless you've got a shotgun. I think the shotgun's going to be probably the new meta because it did seem to be a bit quicker. The assault rifle, I think, is problematic to say the most on PvP. On PvE, it's very good, but on PvP, I think you're going to struggle a bit with the assault rifle because you've got to get an awful lot of shots on target, whereas, well, the shotgun just needs to get one on target, and that takes your head off. I like the fact that this has, again, nice graphics, no shade. So again, I'm asking the question, am I missing something? That it doesn't look as if shadows are working. I could be wrong. But again, I'm loving the way that the maps work. So look at this sort of twisted pile of metal that leads somewhere. Like, I felt genuinely interested exploring this. I was really kind of curious, where is this going? What's happening? You know, I was excited. And I think the map design is just second to none. I don't think there's been a more kind of destroyed level design than I think I've ever seen before. When I think of some of the classic levels, this to me, this whole kind of game level, I think it's the single map. I do appreciate that. I don't think it's more than one map, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that they kind of reuse it, so you don't really notice that, I think is incredibly good. I'm probably wrong, but it feels as if that's true. But I liked it. I got, you know, real enjoyment sort of hunting and looking around and seeing what I could find. And I think this is my style of play, really. Yes, I know I'm supposed to be doing a mission, but I'm more interested in, like, exploring. I think I'm actually interested in what you find. A lot of the loot at the moment is completely unknown to me. I mean, I'm picking up 12 claw bits, and I'm like, oh, I've got 12 claw bits. Who cares? What does that mean? You know, I don't really understand any of the loot at the moment. So this is, again, something I need to learn, because I don't really know what I'm looking for. I think there are certain stashes that you need to mine the locks off so you can get into them. So again, it's things like that. I need to get a bit better at that. Oh, I saw a player and I thought, if I could just tag him, that'd be amusing to me. Boom, there we go. He's gonna be like, oh, he shot me. That's the kind of knob I am. But it just made me smile because it looks good. I get a lot of you know, sort of enjoyment from it. And I think when I look at kind of the level design, I mean, look at that. You're coming out onto a vista. God knows what's happened here. It's just crazy. So, you know, it's exciting. I get a lot from it. I'm really excited to see more maps, more worlds, more things. Now, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm on an uplink site. I have no idea what it does. But it, you know, this is what I need to get better at, is what is happening. Because I suspect this is actually the end of a mission for somebody. So this is somebody's mission. They're supposed to come here and activate it, and I'm basically messing about killing the NPCs. I don't know. So a little bit of discovery is most definitely needed. But I think that's one of the nice things about the game. It's like Stalker. When you play that for the first time, you know, you're just walking around. You're trying to figure out where are you and what's happening. All right, okay. So this is the beginning of a bit of a PvP where obviously I just get annihilated. And I think this is where, again, play with people, because it does seem to give a huge advantage to do so. And I don't even know who they are. I'm just being attacked. Oh, from all corners. It is fun. I did get. So again, see there's something to laser off and loot there. So need to get better at that. I would recommend playing this game with headphones as well. I know you probably all do that, but if you don't, please consider it, because the ability to hear someone coming and have like the spatial awareness to hear where they're coming from. So there you go, two dudes and I'm literally attacking them. And one of them's got a shotgun. What am I doing? I mean, literally, it's just guaranteed to end badly. But it did make me smile. There's something very amusing. I don't even know who got me now I look at it. I probably should scroll. Who got me? Danny Kent and Amont. There you go. Good guys. Fun dueling with you, sirs. So I think overall this has been an interesting kind of second day for me. I hope you are enjoying it. I am definitely doing so. Hit me up on Discord if you want to gang up. And I think we should see some more content coming, because I'm enjoying it. I'm having a real blast doing it. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.